Right, time now for Greg Hughes.
We gotta talk, babe, okay?
You'll be back, soon you'll see. You remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You remember that I served you well. Oceans rise,
Mr. Hughes. I think you honestly have more fun every Wednesday selecting the music we have than anything else.
Yeah, hold on. Battalion, thank you of my love. Yep.
I think you just love
How are you,
music.
Rod?
How are you, man? I'm doing well.
Sure do. You pegged it. You got it right. I absolutely love picking my bumper music, and this is King George III from Hamilton, my favorite musical ever. Okay?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So King George is talking in the beautiful musical Hamilton that I love about how these colonists, they'll be back. They're going to miss him, and if they don't, he'll send a fully armed battalion to remind them of his love. It's a beautiful thing. So your listeners are wondering, what would this segment have to do with King George? Well, I have an analogy for you. So I was at the Capitol yesterday. Went back to my old stomping grounds, Rod. Used to be at the Capitol, used to serve there. Went back where there was a big press conference. Guy named Jeff Gray. Jeff Gray he's an assistant attorney general. He's running for the Utah County Utah County attorney. He's running against David Leavitt, okay? Soft on crime, and you've covered it, David Leavitt, okay? So I go, because I'm speaking as a former Speaker of the House. They asked me to come and participate in the press conference. I work with our duly elected 29 county sheriffs in the state of Utah, and it's been an honor to work with them. And it turns out, Rod, that when you have prosecutors and you have county attorneys who are soft on crime, who take felonies and make them into misdemeanors, it doesn't go well. That's why we talked about even last week's segment. That's why you saw the prosecutor, the DA in San Francisco, liberal San Francisco residents kicked him out, booted him because recalled him.
Yeah, he got booted.
The next liberal prosecutor in LA is going to get booted in July. There is an accumulative effect when you do nothing but excuse criminal behavior and there's no consequences. It just keeps snowballing, and they find it out. Well, Glenn Beck's been covering this on KNRS in the mornings. He's been covering this last 2 days. Look, we have one of these kind of prosecutors, one of these kind of county attorneys, in David Leavitt, and he's soft on crime, and we want to make sure people know it. Well, David Leavitt did not like that press conference. Okay, he thought that was untoward. That whole press conference talking about him. Okay, and this is the part that I love. He said that I got to find here. It is a ridiculous scare tactic, and he believes that Hughes. He's talking about me. He believes that Hughes and those with ties to those that don't want him reelected, that they are the power structure, Rod, and they have no check. We have a Leavitt. Now, David Leavitt just doesn't coincidentally share the name Leavitt with our former 3-term governor, Michael Leavitt, who was also a cabinet member in the George W. Bush administration, whose father is Dixie Leavitt, who was running things in the state at the Capitol and down in Iron County forever. You want to talk about a family with a pedigree and a power structure, okay? For a Leavitt to call Hughes, okay, the power structure, and he's the check, well, that would be like King George III saying those pesky colonists across the pond, they're the power structure. I better go provide some checks for them over there, okay?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mike Leavitt and his brother David Leavitt, they've got their dad, who is a big, important person in politics in Utah. Do you know who my dad is or was, Rod?
You
know who?
Yeah.
No,
I don't.
Either do I.
No,
neither do I.
Yeah,
either do I.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know if I can say this word on the air, but it's in context. I am a bastard. I am a lucky bastard, but I am a bastard. So I don't even know. So there is no pedigree, no power structure over here with me. And in fact, this guy is raising money from all the big wigs. The guy, what's this guy's name? Deloy Hansen, who owned the Real Salt Lake, soccer stadium and team.
Yep.
He's got, Gail Miller. He's got Mike and Jackie Leavitt. he's got all these giant contributions from what I would call kind of the ruling class, the elite here in the state of Utah, and he has the nerve for people that are holding a press conference to call them, oh, that's the power structure, and I'm the check, and I'm the balance. And anyway, I have to sit and wonder when he acts this way, and with the way he's acting, he's not been a very good county attorney. I wonder sometimes if Michael Leavitt looks at his brother David the way that Michael Corleone in Godfather looked at his brother Fredo. Have you ever thought about this?
I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that comparison.
I think we Utah's equivalent of Fredo Corleone. Okay, this kid's connected, but he's Fredo. He's definitely not Michael. He's Fredo. Okay, so I'm just saying that we're just trying to bring some of this to light. And I'm sure that there's that the real power structure in the state probably doesn't like it, but I'm hoping that there's a big change there. And again. For this little band, I mean, this poor guy is Jeff Gray, who's running. Great man, by the way. But he's not having people falling over themselves throwing the money like David Leavitt's got in his campaign, okay? He's not the big money spender. But for him, I mean, that's why we're trying to help the poor guy out. You got a little band trying to give him a puncher's chance because this guy, David Leavitt, shouldn't be returned when you're a liberal, soft-on-crime prosecutor and you don't try felonies and you let people that have assaulted children, you say, well, it'll be better handled by their bishop than to go to prison, so we'll make it a misdemeanor. That's an actual case. Anyway, all those things, they were coming together. It reminds me of like Braveheart, okay? The Scots. Nobody ever called King Edward Longshanks, the guy that has to go put the power source of William Wallace and the Scots, put them in check, okay? That's not how that story goes. Edward Longshanks isn't the victim here, okay? And the Scots aren't the power structure. Well, that's kind of what's happening in that Utah County race. All of us that are helping, we're just a band of brothers trying to do what's right and make sure people know what's going on out there. By the way, by the way, in the 25th, week, the 25th county attorney inside that office has just resigned. There has been an exodus. And that's worth talking about, and that's worth having press conferences about, whether he likes it or not.
You know who also used the Godfather comparison? Wasn't it? What didn't Rush used to call Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo Fredo? I think Rush used to use that analogy as well.
I think he used to call Chris Cuomo Fredo. I think Chris Cuomo got into a fight in a restaurant because somebody called him Fredo at the restaurant. That is beautiful.
I love
Mr. Liberal. Yeah.